Merhabalar herkese. Hepiniz IEFT Talks webinarlarına hoş geldiniz. Bugün University of Exeter'de işletme, ticaret ve pazarlama alanlarında eğitim olanaklarını Alex ve Haley'den dinliyor olacağız. Lütfen sorularınızı soru cevap bölümünden yönlendirmeyi unutmayın. Yes, Haley, the stage is yours now.
Hi everyone, thank you very much for joining our webinar today. Today we're going to focus on the business courses and the business school at the University of Exeter. And we have Dr. Alex Thompson, who is going to tell us all about the facilities that we have. So Alex, over to you.
Thank you very much, everybody. Hello, my name is Alex Thompson. I'm going to share my screen here. I'm a senior lecturer here at the University of Exeter. The department that I work in is marketing, and I run the MSc in International Business program here at the university as well. And so what I want to do today is my agenda is really to give you an overview of the University of Exeter business, of the University of Exeter itself. So to give you a feel of what the university is like, and then because I'm in the business school, I'm going to talk about the business school specifically. I want to highlight things that I think make the city of Exeter unique, the University of Exeter unique, and things that I think are special about the business school where I work. And then what I'm going to do as part of this session is I'll give you a sample lecture, which is something that I give on a Fundamentals of Marketing course. I also integrated into my postgraduate taught courses on the International Business program. So I'll give you a bit of a sample lecture so you can get a feel of the content, how we teach, the material that we use. If you've got any questions, you can post them in the chat. I'll keep an eye on it as we go along. I may not address them right away, but I'll pay attention to the Q&A section. So, okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. For some reason, my PowerPoint presentation has frozen. I tell you what I'm going to do. Seems to be moving a little bit slow in full screen mode. I'm going to reshare my screen, and if it continues to do so, I will minimize it so it's not. So just bear with me for a second here. Sorry about that. Okay. So the first thing I want to highlight is where we're located. So Exeter, the city of Exeter, which is where the university is based, we're approximately about 2 hours away from London. We're in the west, so we're in this little red A there. So we're in a county called Devon. Exeter itself is a beautiful city. I'll show you all of the photos that I'm going to highlight today are from Exeter, as well as the university, as well as the greater Devon area. In fact, I just took a train from London this morning at 8 o'clock and arrived into Exeter station at 10 o'clock. So it's an easy commute. We're close to the seaside. So here's Exeter. Down here is Topsham. A big river called the River Exe runs through Exeter itself and comes out into the English Channel. So it's very scenic. It's very beautiful here. I think it's a nice balance of city as well as beauty. It's one of the things that I like about it. We're very close to the coast, so you can take a train and be there in 10 minutes. The Southwest as a whole is a really beautiful area as part of the United Kingdom. Exeter itself is a historic Roman city, so you'll see remnants of the Romans throughout the city itself, including walls and old schools. The Southwest coast is 630 miles of different walking paths, so if you like the outdoors. It's got rolling hillsides, and it's beautiful. It's green. In fact, the university has the highest student to tree ratio in the United Kingdom. So the campus itself is also very green, very lush, very beautiful. We're located by Dartmoor National Park, which is really scenic, beautiful park. There's loads of really beautiful villages that you can come and explore if you were to come and study in this part of the country. And of course, you know, if you're into water sports or outdoor activities, it's a great university. So something that you might consider. Okay, so for whatever reason, and perhaps it's the size of my PowerPoint file, I'm not able to share my screen like I want to. So I'm going to go in kind of half mode, if that's okay with everybody. So you'll still be able to see my screen, but it just won't take up the full screen. So here's a drone shot of the city of Exeter itself. As you can see, the river runs through right here. In the background, you can see a cathedral. So Exeter has a cathedral that's located here that is, probably built around 900 AD. So again, very, very scenic, very beautiful. Sorry, I'm having these technical issues here. Just a couple of things about the university now that I've talked a little bit about the Southwest and the city of Exeter. It's the University of Exeter itself is one of the most international universities in the world. We draw from students from all over the globe, many different countries. So we're a very international friendly university. The city itself is rated the friendliest city in England, and there is a strong sense of community between the university and the people that live in Exeter itself. It's a safe city, so which one of the things I really like about it. I have a very young daughter; she's 12. So one of the things, the advantages here, I feel that she's very safe. The university itself is rated in the top 10, and that's by students. So that's not just an external accrediting body certifying us as a top 10 university. That's based on student input. We're part of an elite group of universities in the United Kingdom called the Russell Group set of universities. And we're number one in student satisfaction amongst those Russell Group universities. And one of the things that I think is also nice about the university is that we've undergone a massive growth period. So I've been at the university since 2008, and the whole city is really transformed around new student accommodation. It has a nice social life. We have a very active balance of student guild clubs. You know, it's there's certain nights of the week that are kind of designated student nights, such as Wednesday. I know that I teach a first year undergraduate course, and Wednesday seems to be the night that a lot of my first year students like to go out. We've got a nice balance of restaurants in the city, and with, you know, we've got 30,000 students, which I'll cover in a minute. It's a hub for young people that want to have fun. I just saw that question in there. The business school is highly ranked. So in 2022, we won the Times Higher Education Business School of the Year, which is a special accolade. We're ranked in the QS rankings, which is one of the most prestigious ranking bodies, as 153rd in the world, and that was in 2023. And the business school is ranked 7th in the Complete University Guide. So we have 3 campuses. We have a Streatham campus where I'm based right now. In Exeter, we also have St. Luke's campus, which is also based in Exeter. And then we have another satellite campus in Cornwall, which is further west in the city of Falmouth. So the university itself is 30,000 students, so we're large. To give you an idea of what the campus looks like, I'll provide you with this aerial shot, hopefully that you can see. This is the Streatham campus. So you can see it's a very large, it's a destination campus. These are the sports facilities. This is this is the business school where I'm talking to you from right now. You can see the accommodation, the Great Hall. This is all the central part of the campus. The Heatherly building. So as you can see, it's a really beautiful, this is our St. Luke's campus, which is also based in Exeter itself. So we're split between the two campuses, but pretty much most people that come to study here, and if you're in the business school, you will be in the Exeter main Streatham, what they call the Streatham campus. So what are some of the things that I think make the business school unique if you are interested in coming here and studying in the business program? In terms of scholarships, I'm going to have to come back to that at the end. We do offer international students scholarships. There's a student funding page that you can look that up. All you have to do is look at University of Exeter student funding. But right now I'm going to focus in on the business school and what I think it makes the business school unique. I think what makes Exeter unique, and one of the reasons why I like working here, is we have a really nice balance between academically led research and faculty that are also dedicated to the student experience. I think sometimes some universities and business schools get that wrong. Sometimes they're too far research-led, and that research-led doesn't always translate into the classroom. And sometimes I think on the other side that sometimes universities can be too teaching-led, and they're not up to date on the latest research in their field. And I think that Exeter has that really nice balance between research-led, cutting-edge research in areas like business, and taking that insight and dedicating it to student outcomes. We're very focused on student outcomes. We're not only interested in training you while you're here, we also push you to think about what you want to do when you graduate around employability. And we have some support services that I'll talk about. But we've got dedicated teachers here, a dedicated teaching team. I think, the fact that I've been here for 16 years highlights that there's, and I'm actually based in London. I go back and forth between Exeter and London. So it says a lot about the faculty. A lot of the people that work here have been here for a long time. So there's not this huge turnover in staff. And that's because we like working here and we like the students that come here. So you'll get a dedicated teaching team when you come here. You'll also get a dedicated program director. I don't know if you caught in the beginning, I run the MSc International Business Program. So I manage all of the students that are on that program. We offer a personal tutoring system here. So you'll be matched up with a personal tutor, whatever you decide to major in. And the personal tutor is just someone there to not help you with coursework, but to help you transition and transition into higher education study. We have all kinds of learning resources and support that I'm going to talk about in this. And again, we're really focused in not only in helping you to succeed while you're here, but pushing you to succeed post-graduation. Sorry, I've got a dog in here as well. It's my dog. Mia, come. So Sorry, that's my dog. And somebody was knocking at my door, stirring her up. So a couple of other things that make the business school unique. One of the things that makes Exeter unique is that we have triple accreditation. So we are certified by the European Equius. We have the AMBA, Association of MBA accreditation, as well as the North American AACSB accreditation. And you might think, in addition, we have, I don't know if you can see the TEF Gold, that's the Teaching Excellence Framework. And all of these things, so what do these things mean? And what do they mean to students? What it means is that it's not just that I think that the University of Exeter is great. These are external accrediting bodies that have come in and observed our practice, benchmarked us against other universities, and given us accreditation. They ranked us as gold, as the highest level of teaching. There's gold, there's silver, and there's bronze. So Exeter has won gold. And these other accrediting bodies have come in and said that our standards of practice in terms of delivery outcomes, in teaching and research, all meet the requisite associated with that accrediting body. And I think I've covered pretty much those other points. So I'll tell you what, there's quite a few questions. I'm going to come back to those at the end, just so I can keep some continuity. So feel free to continue to ask your questions, and then I'll answer it at the end. So that's my overview to the business school. And what I want to do now is talk a little bit about a sample lecture. So I think this will probably be maybe 20 minutes maximum, maybe 15. And so what I do is I teach a piece because I'm in marketing. And in marketing, we're quite interested in this idea of segmentation, market segmentation, positioning, and the marketing concept. So what I want to do is I want to explain how marketers and businesses use segmentation and positioning and how this feeds the marketing concept. Now, there's quite a bit of terminology that I just dropped there. So let me explain what I mean here. So first of all, when we talk about a marketplace, and a marketplace is a group of people that is interested in buying our products or our services. And so we will, as a business, characterize a market as people, so a business-to-consumer market or a business-to-business market, where people have the wants and the needs and the willingness to buy a good. Now, a market segment is something that is a noun. It is a subgroup. So when businesses look at a market, they realize that not everybody in the market is homogeneous. In other words, they're not all the same. That we appreciate that people have different wants, different needs, and therefore, because they're different, we want to treat them differently. That could be based on their age, it could be based on their lifestyle, it could be based on their background, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. So a market segment is a subgroup out of that market. So a market is its totality, and a market segment is a subgroup of people. And a market may consist of a lot of different market segments. And what I do as a business is I say, okay, I'm interested in the process of market segmentation, which is a verb. This idea that I, as a business, realize that I probably can't serve every market segment. If I'm Coca-Cola, I'm probably going to divide the market for Diet Coke or Coca-Cola Zero into smaller segments and groups. And this is this process of segmentation. It's this idea that I, as an organization, need to divide the market up. I can't serve everyone. And so I have my marketing team segment the market to figure out how many segments there are and how I began to reach some of those segments, but not all of those segments. So market segmentation is an important process in business. And that's just acknowledging that markets as a whole have a variety of different needs and preferences. This idea of segmenting the market, in other words, dividing it up, means that rather than trying to serve everyone, maybe not so well, I'm going to narrow in and target specific segments so that I can better serve their needs. And that allows me as an organization to better allocate my resources. And when I say resources, so I can better allocate my human resources, so I can better allocate my machines and equipment to make things, so that I can better allocate my capital, in my financial capital, into certain areas of the business, and to try to develop a relationship with a market. So hopefully this idea of a market segment and segmentation I've provided hopefully a foundation for you to understand. Now, what marketers do is we say, okay, I'm going to go through this process of dividing the market, this process of segmentation, into dividing people into similar groups, again, maybe by age, or maybe by lifestyle, or maybe by gender. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to target them with a marketing offering. And what I'm doing here is I'm looking at my business and I'm saying, okay, I want to identify those specific segments that I think I can serve. In other words, the ones that I think I can create customer satisfaction with, ones that want to buy my product. So I'm going to target them. So I may create many segments, but I may only target one or two that I think that I can best serve. And then what I do as an organization is I tailor my product offering, and that could be a service, to best meet those needs. So that's kind of the academic background to segmentation, targeting, and positioning. What does it look like in practice? So in other words, how about I give you an example of segmentation, targeting, and positioning using Hugo Boss. So hopefully we're all familiar with this global brand. And I'll give you a case study on Hugo Boss. So in the 1990s, Hugo Boss was a brand that was primarily a business that was just geared towards men. Men that were 40 and above, that were successful business people. So if I think of a market segment, the characteristics of this segment are men, they're professional, they're working, they're executives, they're white collar. And that's who historically Hugo Boss built the brand, was to target these men. In terms of the lifestyle characteristics of this segment, these are successful men. So the Hugo Boss brand, in terms of positioning its product, was meant to align itself as standing for success. And they, as part of the clothing line, Hugo Boss also had a male fragrance, which was growing modestly in the 90s at about 2 to 3% a year. So here's what that segment looks like. This is all advertising taken from the 1990s. As you can see, they're white, they're men, they're 40 plus. They're all executives in their office, all in suits, family men. So hopefully that gives you an idea of the positioning. So, right, what does the brand stand for in terms of targeting these men, in terms of their lifestyle? And so what happened is that part of this was Hugo Boss was interested in growing the business, and they were more specifically interested in launching a male fragrance. And what they wanted to do is they found a market segment out there which was younger men between the ages of 18 to, let's say, 28. And what they were trying to do is move the brand away from this executive, professional, suit-driven white male towards a younger man. And if they were able to launch a new product, this would be net extra business for the brand. And the idea was that they would create this brand called Hugo, which would be a growth engine for the entire brand. So you could launch a fragrance targeting these young men, and then you could have all kinds of additional clothing lines to appeal to these men to go concurrently with it. And so what they did was they partnered with a company called Procter & Gamble, which licensed the Hugo Boss name, and they created a fragrance called Hugo. It's a male fragrance. It's what they did was when we look at marketing, we look at the different touch points. We look at product, we look at price, we look at place and promotion. And what they did was they created a bottle of a fragrance that looked like a military flask that you put on your hip. So it had a different type of bottle, a different one that hopefully would appeal to younger men. The fragrance was fresh, it was clean. The pricing was lower than the traditional Hugo products, the Hugo Boss products. So this is just called Hugo. So I think at the time, if I were to put it in today's money, it would be approximately 35 pounds for the bottle. And it was a global distribution that they launched this product. So the segment that we're going for is younger men. And so let's think about how we might position it. So we've identified a segment. How might we position this? Well, what they did was they created this tagline. You're young, you're ambitious, and plan to be successful, but you want to do it your way, not your dad's way. You don't buy a fragrance because of some phony advertising, but because you like the smell. Your fragrance, your rules. And then all brands, like the Nike, just do it, have that tagline. Don't imitate, innovate. And that's what they did. And what they did was they launched the product to appeal to a younger market segment away from these older men. They went into clubs. They went to where young people hung out. They went into clubs. They did a lot of sampling. So sampling would be giving free product away so that young men could, take a little sample bottle. They could put it on, see how it smelled. Sampling is a very effective way to get people to try your product. The internet in the 90s isn't like it is today. So it's not like we had social media as you're familiar with it. So this is a little bit of an older case study, but I'll take it into more modern. And so sampling in clubs, around clubs was big. I'll show a video from it. There's no sound with it, but it'll give you an idea of how they launched the product with it. And what they did was, remember, young man, he's a young man, he's driving around in a car, he's hip, he's cool, driving around with some friends. And the whole idea around it is to be a little bit irreverent. It's meant to be playful. Your fragrance, your rules. Hugo. And that is how we use targeting and positioning. So we target the segment and then we position it. Positioning is around embedding your brand with the characteristics that resonate with people that are your target market. People that are young, don't want to buy something that their dad bought. Young men want to buy what they like. And the brand was incredibly successful. The launch of the fragrance, sales increased by, remember, this is the fragrance category for Hugo Boss is growing at about 2 to 3%. Sales increased in the category for Hugo, 69%. It went from 71 million to 190 million. Now, what's interesting about this appeal is it's a fairly universal appeal that not only works for men, it also can work for women. And so what they did was they took this successful launch at the end of year one and said, how about we launch it towards young women, women in their 20s that are young, that are hip, that are cool, that want to make their own way. And they created the Hugo for Women. Same style, instead of a flask, it was more of a rounded bottle, but still had that flask type of top. And they used the same exact messaging, except for, right, when I'm talking about positioning, except for they used it towards women. Same kind of young, always act like a lady, but yet she's a little bit irreverent. She's cool. She's doing it her own way. She's adventurous. She's fun. And of course, they all sticking to the same kind of tagline, your fragrance, your rules. So, and this is all launched to global audiences. And what happened is that the launch, so we shifted the market segmentation strategy towards younger people, and Hugo became the largest global prestige fragrance brand in the world. Hugo Boss became the largest male fragrance, and Total Boss sales tripled within 4 years. And the costs were very, very effective due to targeting and leveraging that same messaging across different segments. So what are the implications of this? Is that, repositioning a brand through new product development, is a way that we can reach new segments. So new markets, new growth opportunities, and it helped, there's more detail than I would go in a little more detail in the lecture, but we would talk about competitive advantage. And I would bring in all theorists like Michael Porter, who talk about different types of competitive advantage, how this created a cost competitive advantage, as well as a differentiation type of advantage. So that's my Hugo Boss story. But I'm going to do one more example, and then I'll begin to tie things back up. Again, reinforcing this idea of segmentation, targeting, and positioning. So how do we segment markets? Well, we can segment markets, and this would be the theory that I would teach my students. To say, okay, we're going to talk about segmentation, targeting, and positioning. How do we segment markets? We can do so geographically, right? So I might segment a market based in the UK, England, Scotland, Wales. I might do it by population density of the city. I might go for, here's a picture of country living, right? That's a geographic segmentation. That is for people that live in rural areas or own a home in rural areas. We might segment by climate, whether it's a warm climate, cold climate. This process of segmentation, we can do so by demographic is a very common way to segment. We do so by gender. We do so by age. We do so by income, ethnic background, this idea of family life cycle, that sometimes people of different ages all have different lifestyles. So if you are a 20-year-old going to university, your lifestyle is going to be very different from a 20-year-old who has a job, and that's going to be very different from somebody who has a 20 years old, has a job and a wife and or a husband and has children. And so what we just try to acknowledge as marketers is not everybody of the same age has the same lifestyle. We can segment based on what we call psychographic segmentation variables. So how you spend your time. Are you a thrill seeker? Are you a family person? Do you spend most of your time studying? Are you more of a healthy type of outdoor, active, sports type person. All of that's known as psychographic segmentation. And there's also benefit segmentation. So when I'm looking at a market and I'm trying to figure out what segments I want, maybe I go for a benefit segmentation approach. So, for example, think about if you want a snack. Are you somebody who wants a snack that is a very healthy person that wants fruits as a snack, or do you want chocolate and crisps and those kinds of things? So we can segment the market based on the types of benefits that people seek and what they want to buy. For example, Colgate toothpaste, which is a brand that's sold globally, they use benefit segmentation in all of their product lines. So they offer different products that appeal to people that have different benefits that they seek around their oral health. So they use the charcoal for people that are looking for whiteness of teeth. Some people go for prevention, cavities. So that's the Colgate Total, sensitive teeth. Some people buy product based on flavor, or there's kids, as in toddlers that have the enamel in their teeth that's just building up. The benefits that they seek in a toothpaste is around helping them facilitate the enamel build. And finally, we can segment the market based on usage rate. And that's how much it's a principle in business that is a general rule that says that 80% of our revenue comes from 20% of our customer base. And all it's trying to say is that we need to make sure that we take care of our most loyal customers. And when we segment a market, we want to make sure that we treat those loyal customers with the highest level of service. So, for example, American Express, which is a credit card, uses usage rate segmentation as a basis to segment the market. One of the things that they do is, so if you look at the black card, the Centurion card, it's for global elite. You have to pay a $10,000 initial registration fee, and then your annual membership is $5,000 a year. But you get all kinds of ancillary benefits associated with that. You get concierge services that help you upgrade hotels. You get benefits from upgrades in plane flights. They provide special services at restaurants. So, for example, they will partner with some restaurants and have a special Centurion card, meet the chef at a restaurant. So they're using usage rate to say, okay, we got to make sure we take care of our highest value customers. We don't ignore those people in the lower end, but we make sure we treat those high value customers well. So one more example. How do organizations leverage targeting and positioning once they've identified a segment? So just one more case study, and I'm going to look at energy drinks as a final segmentation variable, and a final way to look at segmentation, targeting, and positioning, and then I'll wrap things up. So here's another case study, and I'm gonna from 1989, and I'll take it till today. In 1989, the Pepsi-Cola company had found some market research data that there is a market segment that exists in the marketplace of people that did not like the taste of coffee or tea in the morning. So, right, you wake up in the morning, you want some caffeine, but there's this group of people that didn't like coffee or tea, and they tended to drink soda or as their beverage. So what Pepsi did was they found this market segment data based on benefits sought. Right? The benefit I want to do is I want to wake up, I want to have caffeine, but I don't want the bitterness of coffee or tea. I want something that's sugary and flavorful. So what they did was they created this product called Pepsi AM, as in morning. And this is at a time when sugar was actually not considered to be a bad thing. Sugar was considered to be something that added taste. So they created this Pepsi AM, which had 28% more caffeine than regular Pepsi, all the sugar and twice the caffeine. But the problem is, people don't want to drink something different at 7 a.m. than what's different during the day. So in other words, when I go to the grocery store, if I'm a Pepsi drinker, do I just buy Pepsi AM for the morning? Because I certainly don't want to drink, and let's say I drink Pepsi all day. I don't want to drink a Pepsi AM that has twice the sugar after probably 12 o'clock in the afternoon, or certainly not after 5 o'clock in the afternoon, because when I want to go to bed, I want to go to bed. And so the problem is that Pepsi had found a market segment based on benefit segmentation, but they over-segmented the market. And what happened was it just cannibalized. In other words, it took sales away from existing Pepsi products. And they ended up having to kill off the line because it didn't generate net extra sales. Remember, the Hugo Boss generated net extra sales. The Pepsi AM didn't. It just took sales away from existing Pepsi products. So Pepsi knew they had this data. They killed off Pepsi AM, but they still had this data that said people don't like coffee and tea in the morning. And so they launched a Pepsi Kona. Kona is a type of coffee bean that is found in the islands of Hawaii, in the Pacific, which is state of the United States. And so they created this Pepsi Kona. And so benefit segmentation approach, add caffeine, again with a little bit of psychographic segmentation here around lifestyle and motives, and a new cola that will defy all expectations. Grab life by the coffee beans, Kona. Unfortunately, again, the product failed. It was over segmenting the market. It just took away sales from existing products. A couple of years later, they partnered with Starbucks to create Pepsi Mazagran, which is a really strange positioning statement. It is borrowed from the French Foreign Legion in Algeria. It's really difficult to make sense of. And as a result, consumers didn't make sense of it as well. The problem with Pepsi's approach was it had good market segmentation data, that there's a segment out there that buy caffeinated drinks that aren't coffee and tea. But really, the problem was the segmentation, the targeting and the positioning was too simplistic. It was either no clear positioning statement or overly prescriptive. In other words, drink it in the AM, Pepsi AM. Now, let's think about what this market looks like. People that like caffeine, if we added lifestyle segmentation, demographic segmentation, in addition to benefits sought, well, what does it look like? Well, we know what that looks like today. Red Bull. I mean, Red Bull did 10.5 billion euros in sales in 2023. They sold over 12 billion cans. Pepsi was a first mover, but they never got their segmentation strategy right. They got the segmentation right, but they got the targeting and the positioning wrong. And had they been able to get that early on, they would have been maybe the next Red Bull. And it's a big market. We've got Monster Energy. We've got all kinds of full throttle energy drink, Let Your Man Out. No Fear Energy. It's got these death skulls and extreme energy. And we know that this market is big. It's almost $63 billion dollars of energy drink was sold last year. And we know that this market is continuing to grow. It's about 6% a year. Now, when we think about, remember my segmentation, targeting, and positioning? When I think about brands like this, who are they targeting? Man up, desk skulls, let your man out. Well, they're targeting young men. And the whole positioning around it is to increase endurance, reaction time. When we look at Red Bull strategy, it's often linked to extreme sports. We've seen in cases where it's been linked as a alcohol mixer. But what about women? What about energy drinks that target women? Well, there's a market. And energy drink companies, when they think about how they're segmenting the market, some products have segmented men, some products have segmented women as a basis of gender, as well as lifestyle. So here's one called HER, or Healthy Energy Revitalizer, which is an energy drink targeted towards women, that will not make you crash or give you the jitters. It's designed to boost your energy without overdoing it. And there's a whole range of products. Go Girl, Cougar, all targeted using targeting and positioning to reach different segments. Now, let's imagine that you've been drinking energy drinks all day long, and you're all hopped up. It's 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and you want to go to bed. Well, believe it or not, we can segment the market based on those benefits sought and psychographic characteristics by looking at the anti-energy drink market. In fact, there's whole sets of products that will help you come down after a stressful day. This is not alcohol. This all has things like melatonin to help you kind of calm, or valerian root, rose hips, and melatonin, designed to slow your roll after a hectic day. There's Marley's Mellow Mood. I don't know if you're familiar with a reggae singer named Bob Marley. Well, the Marley family has created a non-alcoholic mellow mood. It is something to calm you, that is all natural, the opposite of energy drinks. And there's Slow Cow, Vacation in a Bottle, Just Chill. So what does this tell us? It really tells us the importance. And what I do is, when I walk through these concepts with my students, we cover the textbooky, the theory behind it. We apply the theory into specific examples, and we walk everybody through it kind of step by step, so that they see the academic relevance as well as the everyday marketplace application of that theory. And in terms of the learning for segmentation, targeting, and positioning, it's really just the importance of understanding consumer preferences, that the market can be divided up, that markets have different needs, and we want to serve those needs as best we can. That sometimes simplicity is not always best. That, you've got to, there's always this kind of rule of thumb: make it simple and it'll sell. Not always. Sometimes you've got to add some complexity to it. And hopefully, my two examples have shown this relationship between segmentation and marketing position. Just a couple final points about the University of Exeter as a whole. And I know that this was in some of the Q&A, so hopefully this will answer a few of those general Q&A questions. One of the great things I think about the University of Exeter is not only the classes and the teachers that you will work with, but all of the support that you'll get. So we have an in-sessional team that is here that will help you as well. They're called the Into, as well as the Study Zone. So we've got whole teams dedicated to helping, especially international students that have never had an assessment in the UK before, helping you understand what's expected in those assessments. So they'll walk you through how to write a literature review, how to analyze a case study, how to write an essay, all of these things. And we have all kinds of study help for you. We have well-being support here in your personal mentor, as well as a well-being group here as well. The employability team here is one of the best in the UK. In fact, the employability team called Career Zone often win awards for recognition. You can book all kinds of services with Career Zone, some of which are how to help you with interviews, how to develop your CV, but they have all kinds of career fairs, and they also help patch you into alumnus that are now working. In terms of employability, I think it's something that Exeter does really, really well. On social life, we have a load of clubs and societies. I think there's over 100 student clubs and societies within the University of Exeter itself. And these are all student-led. So this isn't, fuddy-duddies like me. These are all young people that have organized clubs ranging from nationality to cooking to movies to, sports to, if you can think of it, we probably have a student guild associated with that. With Study Zone, you can book one-to-one appointments with career advisors. You can book one-to-one appointments for study skills. I think that one of the things that you want to consider when you look at the university is not only the reputation of the university and how highly ranked it is, but all of the services that it also offers. In terms of accommodation, we guarantee accommodation for all first-year students, but you have to register and put your deposit down in July. I forgot the exact July cutoff, but it's on the pages. But we guarantee accommodation. So we've got over 300 clubs and societies. We're an amazing sports university. We were ranked #1 sports university in the south of England. So that was my presentation. Hopefully that was not too long. I'm sure it probably was. But that's it for me. I'll check through the Q&A. I don't know, Haley, did you want to come in and add a few points here at the end?
No, nothing particularly to add. Thanks very much for the presentation. But yeah, if I can help with any of the questions, please let me know.
So, in terms of opportunities for the MBA, our MBA program is a very specialist program. In fact, we take about 40 students a year on that program. So you get, you're well connected. Donald Lancaster is the MBA program director, and they tend to run their industrial opportunities one-to-one with Donald as the primary point of contact and as a program director. In terms of that work balance for international students, so your visa will restrict you to 20 hours a week. I would say that approximately, well, I would guess that 70% of my international students work. I would say actually 70% of my students in general take a job while you're here. If you take a job while you're here, you just have to be organized. You have to strike that balance between your job, your responsibility, as well as you want to also have a social life. A big part of going to university and studying in another country is to meet other people from another country. So, if you don't have to work, I would encourage you not to work. But if you have to, it's just about being organized and being disciplined on balancing study, work, and social life. We don't offer combined degree programs. Excuse me. So it depends on where you want to, for example, we run a BA in business and management. We offer a BA business and management with a specialization in marketing. I wouldn't really, I guess that would be considered a combined program. So that would fit that criterion. And what all that's doing in the BA business and management with marketing is that you're required to take a few extra courses in the marketing area. I think I've addressed everybody's question. I'm happy for anybody else to come in.
You say you what sort of I mean, obviously put you on the spot. If you don't know, that's absolutely fine. But
Yeah,
what sort of careers do students go into sort of after completion of business courses?
sure. So if you are more of a finance oriented type of person, we have a lot of people that end up working for banks, or central government banks, like, for example, the Bank of England. London is a financial capital of the world. One of them, there's more than one. So a lot of people end up working for banks if you're on the more financial side. If you're more of a management, general type of business, we have a range. A lot of people go into brand management. So they work in a particular category, on a particular brand. They work in a team. So you might be the brand rep for Turkey, and you'll work on a specific product type. Here's a classic. So here's Mr. Muscle, kitchen cleaner, and you might be the brand rep for this kitchen cleaner in Turkey. Sorry, that image is a little bit faded there. And you'll work with the brand manager in Italy, in Germany, in the UK, and your job is to promote the product. You're really working with a team, a creative agency. Cool. And so, you're making decisions around messaging, positioning, you're making decisions around resource allocation. So how am I going to spend my money on social media, traditional television advertising, print advertising? So I have a lot of people that go into brand management. I have people that go into consulting, that work project-based. So they get assigned a task around project management and consulting. I have some people that end up in procurement. So procurement is buying goods and services for business. So it's a type of business to business type of job where a company needs to buy raw materials. I have in order to manufacture something, and so you're part of that team that solicits bids on getting low cost, high quality suppliers. I have people that work in human resources, that they're HR specialists, around employability and hiring and managing staff, training staff. So providing induction on really corporate culture and how to acclimate to that culture. What other areas do I have? I have some people that work in quite a few now go into digital marketing, and the digital field. And yeah, I have, trying to think. I think that kind of covers a few of them.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you. Yeah, it's always useful for people to sort of know what they could go into after they graduate. So yeah, I don't think we've got any more questions. So yeah, unless anyone's got any final things, we could leave it there. What I will just quickly do is I'll very quickly just type in the chat my email address. So if you do have any further questions about anything to do with Exeter, please feel free to get in touch. And if if it's a sort of course related question, I can always pass that on to Alex.
Yes, thank you very much for the great presentation, Alex and Haley. It was very informative for the attendees, and you covered all of the questions. Thank you for your answers as well. Also, I would like to thank the participants in Turkish. Katıldığınız için teşekkür ederiz arkadaşlar. Umarım sizin için de faydalı bir webinar olmuştur. University of Exeter ile ilgili diğer sorularınız için chat kısmında paylaşılmış olan mail adresinden Haley'e ulaşabilirsiniz. Bir sonraki webinarlarımızda görüşmek üzere. Thank you very much again, you guys. It was a pleasure to have you in IEFT Talks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.